Chicago is shaking under an NFL earthquake that could blow up Soldier Field in 2025. While the Packers are setting bombs with Micah Parsons, Ryan Poles has 72 hours to decide. Bring in a former Green Bay enemy for the pass. Rush or watch Caleb Williams get devoured in the division. The mystery of the coordinator Ben Johnson almost stole from the Lions' den reveals a toxic truth. Detroit is 10 steps ahead in the NFC North war, and the ticking time bomb nobody sees. 3 veterans with fire in their eyes waiting for this green light to storm Hallis Hall. This isn't off-season, it's all-out war. Are you really going to risk missing the details of the scheme that will finally give the Bears 4,000 passing yards? Click now, smash the like button, and subscribe before your friends find out first. Check out what's happening at Hallis Hall, folks. I think you haven't realized yet the silent revolution Ben Johnson is stirring up in the Bears. You know what excites me the most? Seeing how this guy is taking our biggest weakness of the past. 3 years, the offensive mess, and turning it into our main strength. But first, let's talk about what we went through during the Matt Eberflus era. 3 years, folks. 3 long years without a single winning season. And do you know why? Because there was complete disorganization within the coaching staff that went way beyond what we saw on Sundays. Let me ask you, how many times did we see Caleb Williams last year watching film alone because Matt Eberflus simply canceled that? Sessions, 3 offensive coordinators in 1 year. 3. Is this management or a circus? Let's recall this nonsense. Shane Waldron was fired mid-season after a pathetic streak of offenses that couldn't score. Then Thomas Brown comes in as interim coordinator. And when things seem to stabilize, Eberflus is fired and everything goes haywire again. I'm telling you, that was the biggest humiliation a rookie quarterback with $300 million could go through. And what angered me the most was seeing Williams, a generational talent, being wasted by this administrative incompetence. The kid came from USC with all the tools, the strong arm, mobility, exceptional field vision, and was thrown into a situation where not even the coaches knew which system was being run. But now, Ben Johnson arrived here with a completely different mindset. This man was the architect of the most explosive offense in the NFL in Detroit. He took Jared Goff, a quarterback many considered done, and turned him into the engine of an offensive machine that terrorized defenses Sunday after Sunday. And now he's here in Chicago with much more promising material in his hands. Johnson isn't afraid to confront Williams when he messes up. I think that's exactly what our quarterback needed to hear. No more pampering, no more excessive protection. It's hard work, discipline, and attention to detail. The guy came in on the first day of work and set a clear rule. Here we get the small things right before thinking about big plays. And you know what this means in practice? It means Williams won't leave the field without understanding exactly why a play worked or didn't work. It means every interception, every fumble, every questionable decision will be analyzed down to the last detail. Johnson is building a quarterback who thinks like a coach on the field. The difference in philosophy is stark. Eberflus came from the defensive school, always thinking not to lose the game. Johnson comes from the modern offensive school, always thinking about how to win the game. Where Eberflus preached caution, Johnson preaches intelligent aggression. Where Eberflus avoided risks, Johnson calculates risk to maximize rewards. And do you know what excites me the most? Johnson is talking about making Caleb Williams the first quarterback in Bears history to throw for 4,000 yards in a season. 4,000 yards. In over 100 years of the franchise, we've never had that. Johnny Unitas couldn't do it. Sid Luckman couldn't do it. Not even Jay Cutler in his best days came close to this. To put this in perspective, the record for passing yards in a season in Bears history belongs to Eric Kramer with 3,000. 838 yards in 1995, almost 30 years ago. Meanwhile, we've seen average quarterbacks around the league breaking the 4,000-yard mark as if it's routine. Josh Allen does it in his sleep. Dak Prescott has done it multiple times. Even Kirk Cousins has surpassed 4,000 yards. But Johnson believes that Williams can not only break this record, but set a new standard for the position in Chicago. And I'm here to say I agree 100% with his vision. Williams has the arm for it, the intelligence for it, and now finally has a system designed to maximize his talents. The cultural difference is stark in every aspect. Where we once had confusion, we now have clarity. Where there were once three different voices shouting contradictory directions, now we have unified leadership. Johnson is building something special here in Chicago, implementing the same winning mentality. That made Detroit an offensive powerhouse, and it goes way beyond the numbers. Johnson is changing the way players prepare, how they study the game, how they approach each snap. He brought a culture of accountability that was completely absent in the previous management. Every player knows exactly their role, their responsibility, and what happens if they don't perform at the expected level. I think we finally have a coach who understands what it means to wear navy blue and orange in this city. Johnson knows that Chicago is a city of workers, a city that respects effort and dedication above natural talent. And he is molding this team with his blue-collar mentality that has always defined the greatest Bears teams. And speaking of Ben Johnson, you won't believe the war that went on behind the scenes to hire John Morton as the offensive coordinator. 3 franchises fighting over the same guy. Lions trying to keep him, Broncos offering a fortune, and our Bears chasing him. Let me tell you something, when 3 NFL organizations want the same coordinator, it's because the guy has something very special. But let's start from the beginning of this story that almost nobody knows in detail. When Johnson decided to accept the job in Chicago, the first thing he did was assemble his list of priority coordinators. And at the absolute top of that list was John Morton. He wasn't a plan B. He wasn't a second choice. Morton was the guy Johnson wanted by his side to revolutionize the Bears' offense. Morton isn't just anybody, folks. This man was a key figure in building the Lions' offense we know today. He worked side by side with Johnson for 2 seasons to develop that explosive system that took Detroit to the top of the NFC and nearly to the Super Bowl. When you saw Amon-Ra St. Brown destroying defenses, when you saw Jameson Williams breaking down the sidelines, when you saw Sam Laporta redefining the tight end position, a good part of the credit belonged to Morton. The guy has an extensive resume that goes way beyond Detroit. He was with the Jets as offensive coordinator between 2017 and 2018, an experience many considered a failure at the time, but it actually taught valuable lessons about system adaptation and flexibility. Morton learned that it doesn't matter if you have the best system in the world if you don't have the right players to execute it. After the Jets, Morton spent a few years refining his philosophy, studying offensive trends around the league, and it was this evolution that caught Johnson's attention when he arrived in Detroit. Johnson saw in Morton not just a competent passing game coordinator, but a true innovator who understood how to maximize individual talents within a collective system. And here's the detail that intrigues me the most. Johnson wanted to bring Morton to Chicago so badly that he entered a bidding war with his former bosses in Detroit and with Sean Payton in Denver. Is that loyalty or recognition of competence? I think it is both. Imagine the conversation. Johnson calling Morton and saying, "Come with me to Chicago. Let's do something historic with Caleb Williams. You helped me turn Jared Goff into an elite quarterback. Imagine what we can do with a generational talent like Williams." On the other side, Dan Campbell begging, "Stay here in Detroit. You know our system better than anyone. We have a championship." All window open now. And Sean Payton, the man who turned Drew Brees into a legend, was whispering in Morton's ear. In Denver, you continue with Bo Nix and a promising future, besides having the stability of remaining in the same role without the pressure of rebuilding a system from scratch. The negotiation lasted weeks. Johnson offered not only money, but a direct stake in creating a completely new offensive system. Morton would have total freedom to implement his ideas, something that rarely happens when you join an already established organization. Campbell, in turn, offered continuity and the chance to reap the rewards of years of hard work in Detroit. Payton offered stability and a less pressured environment to continue his development. In the end, Morton chose to stay in Detroit, and I completely understand the decision. Working with Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta, and Penny Sewell is a dream situation for any offensive coordinator. It's like being a chef and having access to the best ingredients in the world. But let me ask you, did he make the right choice in the long term? Detroit has a championship window open now, that's true, but there are also very high expectations and pressure to deliver immediately. In Chicago, Morton would have had the chance to build something from scratch, to mold Caleb Williams from the start of his career, to be the main architect of a historic transformation. Imagine what Morton and Johnson could do here with Williams. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, and our revamped offensive arsenal. Williams has a stronger arm than Goff, far superior mobility, and an improvisation ability that Goff never had. In the right hands, Williams can be the kind of quarterback who breaks franchise records like changing clothes. I think we missed a historic opportunity, but it also shows the level of ambition Johnson has. He doesn't want average coordinators. He doesn't want yes men who just execute his ideas. Johnson wants innovators. He wants people who challenge his ideas and bring different perspectives to the table. And if he didn't manage to get Morton, you can bet Declan Doyle was hired, because Johnson saw the same explosive potential in him. Doyle comes from the Seattle Seahawks, where he worked with Geno Smith and helped revitalize the career of a quarterback many consider done. If he managed to make Geno Smith look like a competent quarterback, imagine what he can do with Caleb. Williams, the lesson here is that Johnson isn't playing house. He's assembling a coaching staff to win championships, not just to improve statistically. Every hire is thought out strategically. Every position is filled with people who share his vision of offensive excellence. And now comes the bombshell that could define our season before it even starts. With the Packers making the boldest move of the offseason by getting Micah Parsons in a trade that shook the entire NFL, Ryan Poles is under pressure to find our answer in the pass rush. Austin Booker injured, our quarterback pressure still questionable, and 3 names in the market that can save our defense. First, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Micah Parsons in Green Bay. This guy isn't just an elite pass rusher. He is a force of nature that completely changes the dynamics of a defense. In Dallas, Parsons was selected for 3 consecutive Pro Bowls, accumulated 40.5 sacks in 3 seasons, and forced 10 fumbles. Now imagine this monster playing twice a year against our offensive line. Matt LaFleur in Green Bay is already salivating at the thought of using Parsons in 1,000 different schemes. The guy can play linebacker, can play on the edge, can blitz through the middle, can cover when needed. It's the defensive versatility every coordinator dreams of having. And our offensive line, which wasn't perfect already, will now have to deal with this twice per season. Braxton Jones on the left side is still in development. Tevin Jenkins is solid, but not exceptional. Nate Davis had a disappointing season in 2024. If we don't improve our pass rush to disrupt rival offenses, we'll spend the entire year being run over by defenses that can focus entirely on coverage because they know they'll have free time to get to the quarterback. Zadarius Smith is the name that excites me the most here, and I'll explain why in detail. 35 tackles, 9 sacks split between Browns and Lions last season, but those numbers don't tell the whole story. Smith played only half the season with each team, arriving in Detroit mid-year through a trade and immediately adapting to Aaron Glenn's defensive system. This 32-year-old veteran knows the division like no one else. He spent 4 years in Green Bay, 2019 to 2022, terrorizing NFC North quarterbacks. Smith knows exactly how to pressure Aaron Rodgers, knows the trends of the Packers' offensive line, knows how to exploit the weaknesses of the Lions' protection system. It's military intelligence, folks. But what impresses me most about Smith is his versatility. Dennis Allen can use him as a pure edge rusher in third down situations, can put him as a linebacker in coverage schemes, can use him in stunts with our defensive tackles. Smith has the physique, 6'4", 268 pounds, and the experience to adapt to any role Allen needs. And let's talk about production numbers. Smith has had double-digit sack seasons 3 times in his career, 2019, 2020, 2021. He knows how to be consistent, knows how to show up in critical moments. In the 2020 season, Smith had 12 sacks and forced 4 fumbles, playing a key role in the Packers' defense that helped the team reach the NFC Championship game. Think Smith would be perfect for Dennis Allen's scheme, who likes to use creative pressure packages and rotate pass rushers to keep everyone fresh throughout the season. Smith wouldn't just be another player on the roster. He would be a mentor to our young pass rushers and a veteran who knows how to win important games. Preston Smith brings that Green Bay experience we so desperately need. And here's a perspective many don't consider: revenge game factor. 70.5 sacks in his career, 11 seasons in the league, and most importantly, he spent 7 years in Green Bay and knows that system inside out. Preston Smith is not Zadarius Smith, no relation by the way, but he brings different qualities that can be exactly what we need. He is more consistent than explosive, more reliable than spectacular. In Green Bay, Smith was the guy you could count on to do his job week after week, year after year. He will never have a 15-sack season, but he will also never disappear completely. Last season, split between the Packers and Steelers, Smith totaled 4.5 sacks, which might seem modest, but he was playing in 2 different systems, with different defensive philosophies, adapting to different groups of players. Considering the circumstances, it was a respectable production. Imagine the information this guy can bring about the Packers system, about the offensive trends of the division, about how Aaron Rodgers likes to escape pressure, about which protection calls Matt Eberflus uses in specific situations. It's like having an insider spy who knows all the enemy's secrets. Preston Smith also has that workman-like mentality that Chicago has always respected. He isn't flashy, doesn't make a lot of noise in the media, just shows up on Sundays, and does his job. In Pittsburgh, even arriving mid-season, he quickly adapted and contributed in the playoffs. That shows professional maturity and adaptability. And let's be honest about the financial aspect. Preston Smith won't cost a fortune. He is at that stage in his career where he accepts team-friendly contracts in exchange for a chance to play for a contender. For an organization that still needs to manage salary cap carefully, Smith represents excellent value. And Shaq Barrett. This name intrigues me a lot, and I'll tell you why. The guy retired last year before the season started, then changed his mind and came back, played only 17 snaps with Tampa Bay between the regular season and playoffs. Sounds like a failure story, right? But there's much more behind it. Barrett has 59 sacks in his career and 2 Pro Bowl selections. His peak was in 2019 when he led the NFL with 19.5 sacks playing for Tampa Bay. 19.5 sacks. That's not luck. That's absolute dominance. Barrett was the guy who terrorized quarterbacks the most that year, playing a key role in the defensive transformation that led Tampa Bay to the Super Bowl the following season. Barrett's problem in recent years wasn't lack of skill. It was a matter of motivation and personal situation. The guy was 32, had already won a Super Bowl, had already proven everything he needed to prove in the league. Retirement was an emotional decision, not a technical one. And when he returned to Tampa Bay, it was in a completely messy situation without time to prepare adequately. But here's the point. If Barrett really wants to play this season, if he has that fire in the belly back, it could be the smartest signing of the offseason. Imagine a pass rusher who once led the league in sacks, who has already won Super Bowl, who knows how to be dominant at the highest level, coming to Chicago with something to prove. Barrett is still only 32, which isn't old for an edge rusher by modern NFL standards. Khalil Mack was playing at a high level at 32. Von Miller continued to be productive well after 30. If Barrett can recover 80% of what he was at his peak, it would be our best defensive signing in years. And there's another factor, chip on the shoulder. Barrett was practically forgotten last season, treated as washed up, as someone who could no longer compete at the NFL level. This kind of disrespect can be exactly the fuel a proud veteran needs to have one last dominant season. I'm telling you, if Barrett still has fire in the heart, if he really wants to prove he can still play, Dennis Allen can craft a perfect role for him. Situational pass rusher, mentor for the young guys, veteran leadership in the weight room. Doesn't need to play 70% of the snaps, doesn't need to be our primary edge rusher, just needs to show up when we need pressure in critical moments. The salary cap hit would be minimal, the risk would be low, but the upside would be immense. It's the kind of calculated risk that smart organizations take. If it doesn't work, you simply cut the guy without a significant penalty. If it works, you have an elite edge rusher for a fraction of the market price, with Parsons. Now in Green Bay terrorizing quarterbacks, we can't go into the season with doubts in the pass rush while our rivals get stronger. The NFC North is more competitive than ever. Lions with that explosive attack, Packers with Parsons, and Jordan Love on the rise. Vikings always unpredictable with a solid defense. Poles needs to act, and act fast. The regular season starts in a week, and we still have roster spots available. Any of these three names would be an immediate upgrade to our pressure package. The question isn't whether we need help in the pass rush. The question is which of these veterans will give us the best return on investment. So Bears family, what do you think of this cultural revolution Johnson is leading? Do we finally have the coach who will take Williams to the next level? I'm genuinely excited about the possibility of seeing 4,000 passing yards for the first time in this franchise's history. Leave a comment on whether you think this is possible in 2025 and which aspect of Johnson's philosophy impresses you the most. And this war for John Morton, huh? 3 organizations fighting over the same coordinator shows the level of competence we're talking about. Do you think we missed a big opportunity? Or can Declan Doyle surprise us and be even better than Morton? Which coordinator would you prefer to have here in Chicago working with Caleb Williams? Now, about the pass rush, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, or Shaq Barrett. Each one brings different qualities. Smith has versatility and knowledge of the division. Preston has consistency and experience. Barrett has upside and motivation. Which of these veterans would be the perfect solution for our defense to face Micah Parsons and the Packers? Let us know in the comments which signing you most want to see Ryan Poles make before the season starts. This is our family, folks. We are more than a channel. We are the voice of the true Bears fans who never give up, who believe every season, who bleed navy blue and orange since day one. If you are part of this family, subscribe to the channel right now and activate the bell, because together we will follow every play, every decision, every victory towards our long dream Super Bowl. And don't forget, this season could be different from all others. Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, a renewed defense, a transformed culture. All the ingredients are here for something special to happen. Bear down, Chicago! Thanks for staying until the end, Bears Nation. See you in the next video with more exclusive news of our beloved franchise. Bear down always.